Retro Ghetto.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Retro Ghetto. So about 4 weeks ago now, I made the somewhat idiotic decision that I'm going to be going for a full Super Nintendo PAL set. That's right, I'm going to be going for all 530 games. At the time of recording, I said that I had game number 200 on the way. That game has since arrived, I've made a video on it, but that is Sunset Riders. This was a bit of a grail of mine. I was absolutely delighted to add this to the collection, and in many ways this was the milestone that kind of led me on the path to saying, right, I'm going to go for the full set. Since then, I've added 10 more games. We're going to be going over those games very quickly in this video. We're going to be looking at how much I paid and where I got them from what I can remember. And we're going to hopefully be taking that total of 10 more games to 12. I've got a couple of boxes sat here. That's right, we're going to be doing a CEX Lottery. I've got 2 box Super Nintendo games here, which I'm very hopeful will be getting added to my collection. One of which is very underpriced and doesn't come into CEX stock very often at all. So fingers crossed that that one's going to be boxed, good condition and complete, and we'll be adding it to the Super Nintendo wall real soon. But let's get into it. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a pile. These are in no particular order whatsoever. At last recording, I needed 334. Obviously, there's 10 more here, so that's 324. If those sums don't quite add up with the total that I said we need for the set, that's because a few of these are sort of variants, Nintendo Classics and things like that, which obviously don't count as 2 games towards the set. So, couple of random cheap sports titles that we've got here. First one is Super International Cricket. I'm not a cricket fan by any means, but I got this for a really good price from Rich over at Old School Gaming. It's nice condition, it's complete, so that got added to the collection. And then, one which I found very strange, Kickoff 3 European Challenge. Now, I played a lot of Super Kickoff when I was younger. I didn't know anything about sort of Kickoff 3. But what intrigues me about this is it's called Kickoff 3 European Challenge. And bizarrely, there's a guy wearing a Brazil kit on the front cover. Brazil wasn't in Europe last time I checked, but hey, it was the 90s, right? A lot of things we just let slide. And the absolute stone cold classic, I think this is pretty much all the sports games, International Superstar Soccer. Yeah, just an amazing game.
International Superstar Soccer Deluxe!
I already had the original International Superstar Soccer, this one being International Superstar Soccer Deluxe. I spent many, I'd be lying if I said hours, days on these games as a kid, playing with my brothers. And yeah, just good times, man. And where what was almost a lifelong love affair with Pro Evolution soccer games started right here with International Superstar Soccer. Okay, so next up we have got Micro Machines, a game that I very recently picked up. And yeah, it's one of them that I was very surprised I didn't already have. This was a successful CEX Lottery. I do already have Micro Machines 2, and I have various other Micro Machines versions on the Mega Drive. So yeah, just one of them games that was an absolute staple for me. Another one that I put a lot of time into growing up as a child, and a must-have really in any Super Nintendo collection. Okay, so I lied, there is one more random sports title, and that's Madden 95, one of the more uncommon Madden titles. I'm not an American football guy by any means. I won't be playing this game. I don't know how American football works, right? I don't understand it. I don't know the rules of it, but yeah, Nick did me a fantastic price in this over at Vintage Gamer, and it's in decent condition. And as I say, one that's somewhat uncommon in terms of the Madden franchise, so happy to get that added to the collection. And then if you watch the channel, if you know anything about me, you know I love random 90s platformers, right? And this is Super Adventure Island. I got this from a Facebook group, somebody which is selling off part of their collection, and this is just one of the ones that I've been wanting to add for quite a long time. This franchise originally started on the NES, I believe, and then it graduated to Super Adventure Island. There's also Super Adventure Island 2, which I think is actually thought of as being a better game, but that's become a very pricey, hard to find title, so that's one for another day. But yeah, really happy to have added Super Adventure Island to the collection. And on my very recent epic game hunt that I went on, where I went to 4 of the best retro video game shops in the country, I found this, and that is On the Ball. So yeah, this is another one of them somewhat uncommon games. It's a puzzler, but it's actually quite fun from the reviews that I've seen and read. There's actually quite a bit of replayability to this one. It is a Taito game, and yeah, picked this up from GameSmart. They did me a really good price on this. It ended up being a bit cheaper than what CX would sell it for. It's complete, and yeah, happy to add it. Next up is, I don't know if I'd call it a win. This was another CEX Lottery. It's in good condition. I decided to keep it because I bought it with vouchers and it was quite cheap. Sadly, it doesn't have a manual, but that is Judge Dredd. This is a game that I've been wanting to get my hands on for some time as well. Most sort of action movie adaptations didn't translate too well, right? But this one apparently is a very fun game. It also has a Blockbuster sticker on it for just £2.49, and usually I remove my stickers, but with this one, I'm going to leave it on just because of the charm of it, with it being Blockbuster, and the fact that you could once upon a time go and pick up box Super Nintendo games for £2.49 still somewhat astounds me, right? But yeah, Judge Dredd. Okay, and this next one is one that I picked up at the Birmingham Gaming Market recently. I was hoping to add quite a few to my collection from the Birmingham Gaming Market, but I think I'm just getting to that point now where it's getting harder and harder to find games that I still need in box condition. I got this for a decent price, and I'm now just one game away from the full Pac-Man Super Nintendo set. I think it's Pac-Man Adventures 2. But really happy to add this one. It looks like quite a unique game in terms of its gameplay. Looking forward to playing this one. I love the green box art as well, so yeah, really happy to add Pac in time. And then lastly, even though these weren't done in any kind of specific order, probably the one I was most excited to add to my collection, and that is True Lies. As you can see, I still need to remove some of the stickers from these. I haven't got around to it yet, but this is one that's been on my radar for quite some time. It's become a very pricey, very uncommon title. Famously, LJN make terrible video games, as per the Angry Video Game Nerds videos, but this, by all accounts, is a very good game. It's a very unique game for Nintendo, and especially Nintendo in the early 90s, in that it's very violent. You have loads of different weapons at your disposal. There's blood, there's gore, there's all sorts. It's just one of them games that I really am looking forward to playing. There's about 2 or 3 games now on my Super Nintendo backlog that I can't wait to play, but Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at the moment is created quite the backlog. So as soon as that's done, I'm going to be having a real SNES marathon, and this is one of the first games that I'm going to be playing. And yeah, I want to give a massive shout out to Retro Dregs, who's on Instagram, who sold me this for a fantastic price. And yeah, man, that's 10 games added to the collection. Okay, we've reached the main event, the CEX Lottery section of the video, and obviously I don't know which one is in which box, and one of these I am hoping is in collection condition, simply because you just don't see it that often, and it's massively underpriced compared to what it goes for on eBay. But let's crack on with the first one, and I'll be switching to my trusty second camera. I keep getting criticised for the way in which I'm opening these pull tabs, right? People keep telling me I'm doing it wrong. Apparently you've got to go from right to left, so we're going to try that. No, we're not, because there's tape covering it, so we're going to do it in reverse. It's probably going to go wrong. It is what it is, right? Let's get into it. Right, let's get rid of the invoice. First thing to say, it's well packaged. Let's see what we've got. Oh, no way. So if you're wondering why I said I was switching to that camera and I didn't switch, it's because I didn't have the camera recording. Now we're going to switch to this camera. Ghetto by name, ghetto by nature. Let's see what's in here, shall we? This is the one, right? Okay, we're kicking off with a bang. This is the one that I was hoping was going to be in good condition. This is the one which is very cheap in comparison to eBay. And you know what? From what I can see through the wrapper so far, it looks good. I don't know about the manual, but okay, we're happy. We are happy thus far. That game is Super Strike Gunner. Originally called Strike Gunner when released for arcades in 1991, this Tecmo developed game was ported to the Super Nintendo in 1992, and of course it was given the name Super Strike Gunner. In this vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, you pilot a high-tech fighting jet set way into the future of 2008. Aliens have invaded Earth and we're on the brink of a full-scale war. How ridiculous, as if anything that significant was going to happen on Earth in 2008.
7 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate.
Okay, let's get into it, shall we? And what I can say first of all is I'm very happy with the condition of this. Very happy indeed. As far as Nintendo cardboard goes, right? You can't expect too much more from a CEX Lottery. The corners are okay. It's really nice. There's the odd like nick, but generally speaking, this is great. If there's a manual in here, this is a huge CEX win. Let's hope. I think there's a manual. I think there's a manual. There's a manual! Wow! Wow. This is what we call a win. Oh my days, look at the condition. Guys, so we've got beautiful condition cardboard. The manual, which looks like it's never been touched. Now remember, this is 1992 we're talking about. Wow. It's even got the consumer information and precautions booklet. Again, looks like it's never been touched. The cartridge, immaculate. Looks like it's never seen a ray of sunshine. Original inlay. Again, this looks like it's come from a collector's, collection. I mean, wow. That's what always surprises me when you get things like this. I think to myself, how did this end up at CEX? Because most people that sort of collect video games to the point where they're going to own Super Strike Gunner in this condition wouldn't trade things to CEX, right? Because generally you don't get that much bang for your buck when you do so. But I mean, just look at the tabs. Man. Okay, we've kicked this off with an absolute win. I am delighted. This is the one that I was most happy about of the two. This is the one that, as I say, is going for a lot of money on eBay, and I'll try and put up some relative comparisons in terms of prices given how good the condition is of this game. But guys, you know what it's like, 16-bit era shmups, they have a high value, and this is as good a win as I've had on the CEX Lottery for a long time. I'm delighted with that. Let's get into the next one. Okay, box number 2, and to be honest, even if they've sent me a bag of spanners, I'm happy because of how good in condition Super Strike Gunner is. But let's hope we can go 2 for 2. They've completely covered up the tab, so I won't be able to do the old pull. In fact, they've put so much tape on this, I might have to pull out the trusty knife. Well, they've really gone to town on this one. Let's hope the condition is worthy of such packaging. Being careful, right? I've had enough issues slicing fingers open recently. Don't need any more. Okay, let's take out the invoice. Let's switch to this camera here, which is now on, so that's good news. And let's pull him out. Okay, they've gone all out. Not only have they put the wrap on, they've also put elastic bands, which is a first. I won't say cigarette smoke, but fusty. Let's just call it fusty, right? It's a bit like a teenager's bedroom on a hot summer's day. Okay, first impressions are once again very positive. That game is Pagemaster. Released alongside the 1994 Macaulay Culkin film, this game is, you guessed it, a platformer. Developed by Probe Software, you battle through literature-themed levels from horror to fantasy. Apparently, it doesn't play that well from the reviews that I've seen, but it does look good. It's really nicely animated, this one, similar to the movie itself, which is sort of half live action, half animated, and let's get into it. So again, first impressions are very positive. It's sort of all there, it's all intact, it's solid. There's a bit of sticker at the top, but that's just residue, that's not damage. There's a bit of a bashed corner, but generally speaking, it's really nice condition. It feels heavy. Let's go for it, shall we? This is from Beaties. Anyone remember Beaties? Shout out to Beaties. Let's get into it. Let's get into this. Oh my days! Okay, so the manual's a bit battered at the bottom, but it's complete. Once again, with consumer information booklet. I mean, who cares about that at the bottom of a manual? I don't. You don't play the manual, it's just nice to have it, right? I don't even know what to say. Delighted. Wow, that might be the best CEX Lottery I've ever filmed on the channel. To go 2 for 2 with Nintendo cardboard and both being in really nice condition, both complete, I'm absolutely delighted with that. One of the things I forgot to mention was the prices. So Pagemaster was $32. Similarly priced was Super Strike Gunner. I forgot to write it down, but what I will be doing is put it on screen now, and again, contrasting that with eBay, you can see what a bargain that was. So, yeah man, 2 box Super Nintendo games in nice condition. 2 for 2 does not happen very often at all, right? And obviously CEX has its detractors, and rightfully so. They do make quite a few mistakes, and there are quite a few things which I would change if I was in charge of the CEX retro video game division. But let's also give them the praise where it's due, and to get 2 games like this, both utilising CEX vouchers, has virtually cost me nothing. I've been out and picked up games from charity shops and traded them in towards this, and I don't think we could have asked for much more than that. As a result of that fantastic CEX Lottery, I now need 322 games to complete my full boxed Super Nintendo set, and I just want to say I'm having so much fun collecting for what is my favourite system of all time. And even though I've only been doing it avidly now for a month, but we've already added 12 games, and I just love delving into the 16-bit library deeper and deeper as I go further and further into this full set. And days like today, the high that you get from opening games in this condition kind of makes it all worthwhile as well. So I really appreciate you guys for coming on this full set journey with me. If you want to see how I progress and ultimately get to the conclusion, hopefully, make sure you hit the subscribe button, keep it locked to the Retro Ghetto. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll be seeing you on the next one. Play your games, keep it retro, in a bit.
You're watching the Retro Ghetto.
Ghetto.
Ghetto!
Yeah.